A terrifying new warship has just been activated, and it's unlike anything the world has ever seen. Built with top-secret technology, this massive vessel holds unimaginable power, capable of shifting the balance of global military strength. The U.S. military is on high alert, with experts worried about its potential to change the face of warfare forever. What is this ship, and why is it so dangerous? Stick around to discover the shocking truth behind this new weapon. In the world of modern warfare, technology has become the true weapon of power. Gone are the days of traditional combat. Today, it's the speed, precision, and scale of technology that determines the victor. The battlefield has evolved, and so have the weapons. From drones that strike silently from the sky to submarines that glide beneath the surface without a trace, military innovations have redefined what it means to be safe in today's world. But now, the game has changed once again. Imagine a warship, bigger, faster, and more powerful than anything in history. A ship that moves like a shadow, silent and deadly, yet brimming with cutting-edge technology that could turn the tide of global power. This is not a distant dream or something out of a science fiction novel. This is the terrifying reality. The warship that has just been activated could change everything we know about modern warfare. The United States military is no stranger to advanced weaponry, but even they are rattled by this new arrival. It's a force like no other, with capabilities that push the limits of what we thought was possible. The U.S. Navy, known for its dominance at sea, now finds itself grappling with the shocking truth: they might not be the strongest force on the water anymore. Behind closed doors, the top brass are debating their next move. How do you defend against a weapon that you can't even track? How do you prepare for an opponent who seems to be one step ahead? It's not just a military problem anymore. It's a matter of national security, global power, and survival. As the U.S. military braces itself for this new threat, the world watches with bated breath. Is this the beginning of a new era in warfare, where technology and fear combine to reshape the future of combat? Will this warship be a game-changer, or is it the start of a dangerous new arms race that could push the world to the brink? These are questions no one can afford to ignore. The world has never seen a warship like this before. Built in complete secrecy, it's a marvel of modern engineering, a symbol of unimaginable power and potential. Standing tall on the horizon, it looks almost like a monster, its silhouette sharp and intimidating against the sky. Unlike anything the world has seen, this warship's design is sleek yet terrifying. Every line, every curve, every inch of it is engineered for one purpose: to dominate. But what's truly unsettling isn't just its massive size or its menacing exterior. It's the technology hidden within. The warship is equipped with weaponry so advanced that it seems to defy the laws of physics. Its advanced radar system can detect threats from miles away, pinpointing even the smallest movement on the horizon. It's a hunter, and the world, its prey. But the real surprise comes in its propulsion system. This ship doesn't rely on traditional fuel. It runs on an energy source so powerful, so secret, that even the most seasoned military experts are baffled. Some say it uses cutting-edge fusion technology, while others whisper about a new kind of electromagnetic engine that could move it at speeds never seen before. The sheer power behind this ship means it can outpace, outrun, and outlast any other vessel in the world. There's no escape from it. Once it locks its sights on a target, it's already too late. Compare it to the best warships in the world today, and the difference is staggering. The U.S. Navy's finest vessels, like the aircraft carriers and destroyers, have long been the gold standard of maritime warfare. They are massive, armed to the teeth, and nearly untouchable. But this new warship? It renders them obsolete. It doesn't just dominate the waters, it controls them. While other ships fight battles with strength and firepower, this one fights with intelligence, speed, and sheer unpredictability. What makes it even more terrifying is the fact that much of its technology remains a mystery. Rumors swirl about weapons that could decimate entire fleets in a single strike. Advanced cloaking systems that make it nearly invisible to enemy radar. A defense system so sophisticated that it could intercept any missile before it even gets close. The questions linger in the minds of military leaders. What else does this ship have hidden beneath its surface? What are we not being told? This warship is not just a machine, it's a statement, a declaration that the future of warfare has arrived, and it's darker, faster, and more terrifying than anyone could have imagined. When the U.S. military first caught wind of the warship's existence, it sent shockwaves through every level of command. What began as whispers in the halls of intelligence agencies soon turned into an undeniable truth. This wasn't just another naval project. It was a revolutionary weapon that could shift the balance of power. No one was prepared for what it truly represented. As more details leaked, the realization hit hard. The United States was facing an enemy unlike anything they had ever encountered before. For years, the U.S. Navy had been the undisputed leader of the seas. Their ships, their submarines, their technology, everything was built to intimidate, to dominate. But now, a new player had entered the stage. And this one wasn't just a rival. It was a monster that could tear apart the status quo with a single move. The warship wasn't just a physical threat. It was a psychological one. Its very presence made all previous advancements seem outdated. For the first time in decades, the U.S. military was forced to question their own superiority. Top-level military officials convened in urgent meetings, with tension thick in the air. Every report that came in only heightened the sense of fear. The warship's unmatched speed, its ability to disappear into the horizon without warning, its unparalleled firepower. This was no longer just a naval challenge. This was a global crisis waiting to happen. The U.S. knew they couldn't afford to underestimate it. In response, the Pentagon ordered immediate action. Intelligence teams worked around the clock to gather more information, scouring every possible lead. The urgency was palpable. The U.S. needed to understand this ship, its capabilities, and, most importantly, how to counter it. Special operations teams were put on high alert, preparing for any scenario, from a stealth mission to direct confrontation. Meanwhile, naval fleets were repositioned, and defense systems were updated with an eerie sense of anticipation. Every branch of the military braced for the worst. But even with all the military might the U.S. could muster, there was still a sense of helplessness. The questions lingered. Could they stop this warship if it came to a confrontation? Was the U.S. Navy still the king of the seas? Or had they just become another pawn in an unpredictable new game? The terrifying truth was this: they didn't know. And that uncertainty was more dangerous than any weapon the warship carried. When the U.S. military first caught wind of the warship's existence, it sent shockwaves through every level of command. What began as whispers in the halls of intelligence agencies soon turned into an undeniable truth. This wasn't just another naval project. It was a revolutionary weapon that could shift the balance of power. No one was prepared for what it truly represented. As more details leaked, the realization hit hard. The United States was facing an enemy unlike anything they had ever encountered before. For years, the U.S. Navy had been the undisputed leader of the seas. Their ships, their submarines, their technology, everything was built to intimidate, to dominate. But now, a new player had entered the stage, and this one wasn't just a rival. It was a monster that could tear apart the status quo with a single move. The warship wasn't just a physical threat, it was a psychological one. Its very presence made all previous advancements seem outdated. For the first time in decades, the U.S. military was forced to question their own superiority. Top-level military officials convened in urgent meetings, with tension thick in the air. Every report that came in only heightened the sense of fear. The warship's unmatched speed, its ability to disappear into the horizon without warning, its unparalleled firepower. This was no longer just a naval challenge. This was a global crisis waiting to happen. The U.S. knew they couldn't afford to underestimate it. In response, the Pentagon ordered immediate action. Intelligence teams worked around the clock to gather more information, scouring every possible lead. The urgency was palpable. The U.S. needed to understand this ship, its capabilities, and, most importantly, how to counter it. Special operations teams were put on high alert, preparing for any scenario, from a stealth mission to direct confrontation. Meanwhile, naval fleets were repositioned, and defense systems were updated with an eerie sense of anticipation. Every branch of the military braced for the worst. But even with all the military might the U.S. could muster, there was still a sense of helplessness. The questions lingered. Could they stop this warship if it came to a confrontation? Was the U.S. Navy still the king of the seas? Or had they just become another pawn in an unpredictable new game? The terrifying truth was this: they didn't know. And that uncertainty was more dangerous than any weapon the warship carried. As the reality of the warship's existence spread, fear gripped the United States. It wasn't just the military that felt the weight of this new threat. It was the entire nation. Political leaders scrambled to make sense of what was happening, unsure of how to react, unsure of how far this new weapon could push the world toward the brink of war. Every headline, every briefing, only deepened the sense of unease. The question was no longer if conflict would occur. It was when. In Washington, a cold tension settled over the Capitol. Congress held emergency meetings, debates grew heated, and experts argued about what the warship meant for America's global standing. Was this a sign of a new arms race, one that could plunge the world into chaos? Or was it a calculated move by an enemy power to provoke the United States into a reckless response? In the quiet halls of power, whispers of espionage began to surface. Had this warship been built with stolen American technology? Or worse, had a covert operation within the U.S. military led to its creation? As tensions soared, the public grew restless. The average citizen began to question whether they were safe. Reports surfaced of secret military operations taking place in the dead of night, and rumors spread of mysterious government activities. But the truth remained hidden. The looming fear was not just about the ship, it was about what it symbolized. This was no longer about technology. It was about a power struggle, a race toward an uncertain future where no one could predict the outcome. Every passing day felt like the world was teetering on the edge of something far darker. The warship's activation had ignited a fear that no one could extinguish. And with that fear came the silent certainty: nothing would ever be the same again. As the warship looms on the horizon, its implications stretch far beyond the U.S. military. It's a game-changer, a harbinger of a new era where power isn't just measured by numbers, but by the sophistication and speed of technology. The future of warfare is no longer about strength in numbers or brute force. It's about who controls the most advanced weapon. This warship, with its secretive weaponry and unknown capabilities, has already rewritten the rules of combat. And the question lingers: what happens next? The world is at the edge of a precipice. Nations across the globe are forced to reckon with the reality that a single ship could shift the balance of power. The United States, once the undisputed leader in naval supremacy, now faces a terrifying uncertainty. What happens if this warship falls into the hands of an adversary? What does it mean for global stability when one ship can potentially dominate entire regions of the world's most crucial waterways? As the fear of this new weapon grows, so too does the potential for a new kind of arms race. If other nations develop their own versions of this warship, or worse, surpass its capabilities, could we be witnessing the dawn of a new Cold War? What happens when the world's superpowers no longer trust each other and begin to compete not for resources, but for supremacy in warfare technology? What does this mean for the idea of peace? How can nations ever feel secure again when weapons like this exist? It's no longer just about military might. It's about trust, diplomacy, and the fragile balance of global relations. Will the world unite against a common enemy? Or will this technology ignite a chain of events that spirals into conflict? The terrifying truth is that no one knows the answers yet. But one thing is clear. We are standing on the precipice of a future where warfare isn't just fought on battlefields, it's fought in the shadows, with weapons that we can't even begin to comprehend. Are we ready for this new reality? And more importantly, is the world ready to handle the consequences of the power this warship represents? As the world holds its breath, the warship's shadow grows larger, darker, and more mysterious. What began as an unsettling rumor has now become a terrifying reality. Its presence has already ignited fears that stretch across oceans and continents. It's more than just a ship. It's a signal of everything that's changed in the world of warfare. And with its arrival, the question on everyone's mind remains: what happens next? The United States, once the undisputed leader of the seas, now stands at a crossroads. The fear isn't just about the warship's destructive power. It's about the unknowns that come with it. What else is hidden within its depths? What other secrets does this advanced technology hold? And most unsettling of all, who else could be developing weapons just as powerful? In every corner of the globe, nations are now asking themselves these same questions. Is this warship the start of something even more terrifying? Will we see an all-out arms race that pushes the world toward the edge of chaos? Or is this just the beginning of a new kind of warfare, one where technology reigns supreme, and the battlefield isn't just a place on land or sea, but a dark and unpredictable space filled with unknown threats? The truth is, no one knows. What we do know is that this warship is a symbol of an uncertain future. It's a harbinger of the new age of combat, one where power is measured not in numbers or firepower, but in technology that we can't even begin to understand. And with that uncertainty comes the terrifying realization: the future of warfare may not be something we can stop, but only survive. As the world watches in fear and fascination, the question remains: will this warship be used in combat, or will it remain a show of force, a bluff to test the world's resolve? The answer is still shrouded in mystery, but one thing is for sure: nothing will ever be the same again. So what do you think? Is this just the beginning of something darker, or will the world find a way to face this new reality? Let us know your thoughts below, and if you want to know more about the terrifying future of warfare, make sure to like and subscribe. The journey has just begun. Stay tuned.